I mean, he had Tom bloodied up, and Tom didn't want to continue in the fight. So, yeah.
What is the situation with Tom?
Yeah, the company has talked to him. I haven't talked to him, and Tom and I obviously need to talk. He came out recently, or his dad too, saying that they felt like I don't know how they said it, but that I had sort of shit on him in the way that I had spoke about his eye injury. I said I think he's okay, and I think he's going to be good, and they came out and said no, that's not the case. He said I haven't even talked to Dana. I don't know why he would say that, but obviously.
Breaking news: Dana White fires back at Tom Aspinall, insisting the UFC has been checking on him the whole time and never said anything negative. But fans aren't buying the innocent act just yet.
So obviously, and I know Tom said, I haven't even talked to him and all that stuff, but we have people all over him right now, checking up on him, making sure he's good. Does he need any help or, any specialists? Yeah, I'm no doctor. I'm just saying what I've heard. And that was in no way, it wasn't said in a way that they're like, oh, what do you think? I said, I think he's fine. Or it wasn't like that. I said, I think Tom's eyes are good. He's going to take some time, heal, come back to, that's all I said. I wasn't saying anything negative toward him.
Tom Aspinall clearly frustrated here, brushing off questions about his own eye injury with visible sarcasm. Catching strays indeed, and this entire situation is only getting messier by the day.
Any updates about the eye of Tom Aspinall, and is there a rematch in the works?
Oh, Jesus, don't let me talk about Tom Aspinall's eye. Apparently he's going in for a second surgery or just had it, and by surgery I mean injections. I have no idea. Get a quote from him. God forbid I say something about it. Go ahead.
Jeez.
How close did you think you were to
Here's your quote. Catching straight.
Eddie Hearn now steps in swinging, blasting the UFC over Tom Aspinall's pay and vowing to block him from fighting under those terms. But signing with Eddie in the first place is exactly what dragged Tom into this entire mess.
Invited him to the White House. He's supposed to be fighting the winner. Really interesting what's happening in the UFC right now. They've got to be careful. I'm not going to let Tom Aspinall fight for the kind of money that's in his contract to be involved in a fight against Pereira or Game for literally 1/50th of the revenue of that show.
Yeah.
Fuck that. I won't let him do it. And he's not going to, it's time that those UFC fighters stop being mugs and started to understand that these people are taking advantage of them. They deserve better.
Are you saying Tom's going to retire if they come back and say he's getting 300K?
I'm saying that my advice to Tom Aspinall, don't you dare take that fight for the money that's in your contract. You are one of the biggest stars in UFC. Everybody will be sick to their stomach about the money that Tom Aspinall is supposed to get for that kind of fight. Mate, you don't need that. You nearly lost your eyesight. You want to go back and fight for virtually nothing. It's outrageous. And I will not. I'll do everything I can to not allow it.
Dana White claps back instantly, calling Eddie Hearn stupid on camera without hesitation. This is officially personal now, and Tom Aspinall is stuck right in the middle of a full-blown promoter war he created himself.
And Eddie Hearn's been talking again this week. He says he won't let Tom Aspinall fight under the current terms of his UFC contract. He signed a management contract with him. What's your response to that?
You said they want him released, right? Yeah, you release Bam Rodriguez then. Sounds pretty stupid, doesn't it? Congratulations again, Eddie. You sound stupid again.
Dana White goes even further now, mocking Eddie Hearn's own business decisions and calling him full of it on camera. The gloves are officially off, and Tom Aspinall keeps getting pulled deeper into a fight that was never his to begin with, all because he chose Eddie Hearn as his voice.
Eddie, who apparently, Ben was his best friend. Eddie's been crying, literally crying for weeks. Oh, you're my best friend. And he didn't even want to pay him, but he wants to pay my guy. He could have paid his best friend and they could have remained best friends.
Is there any update with the Bengals?
Eddie's full of a lot of shit. You know it. I know it. You know.
Eddie Hearn keeps hammering away, insisting Tom Aspinall deserves better pay and calling out the UFC for arrogance. Fair points on paper, but here's the truth fans keep pointing out. Tom is the one who signed that contract in the first place. And now he's letting an outsider turn his own career into a public spectacle instead of handling it quietly like a champion should.
Everything, Tom Aspinall is the boss. So we will give him our advice and he will decide what he wants to do. He won't mind me saying he's not happy. And again, but he also understands at the same point, he signed a contract. So we can't sit here and cry too much, but you just hope that people are fair, because when you're getting 1/50th of the revenue of a show to main event for the UFC Heavyweight World Championship, how can anybody possibly suggest that is fair? And it's not a normal situation for Tom Aspinall. He's had 4 eye operations coming off that fight, and now you want to see him get back in the ring for, honestly, the time he's paid his expenses and paid his tax. My opinion, this is not Tom's opinion necessarily, my opinion is, what's the fucking point? Like, do you really want to risk your health for nothing? I mean, nothing. You're not even going to make anywhere near 7 figures time you finished. What? Yet there's $50 million of revenue in the show. It's absolutely obscene. And you know, I've got a call with Tom to go through everything this week, because he will have to make a decision at some point. And listen, maybe those guys want to freeze him out and try and be clever, or maybe they want to be honourable and say, look, Tom Aspinall against Alex Pereira is a massive fight. So we're going to be fair. This is what we suggest. Maybe there's an extension to the contract. I mean, everyone's got this perception that we're looking to bust out of this contract and go into boxing. That's not true at all. Tom's very happy to remain in the UFC, but he also feels, as heavyweight world champion, and with the revenue that's in the pot, that just a little bit of respect would be nice. And you know, like I said, I mean, Tom would love to fight Francis Ngannou. And Tom Aspinall against Francis Ngannou is a huge event. But it's very unlikely that the UFC would do anything honourable and, you know, potentially release Tom Aspinall from his contract. I mean, in an ideal world, you'd sit down with someone, man, but you've got enough money to pay him properly, but you just wouldn't do it because you're so arrogant. But if you don't really want to do it and you don't really like Tom Aspinall, which clearly they're giving him no support, no brand value, no profile building, let him go. If you don't see the value in him, let him go. And you know, of course, in that situation, and this is why they'd never let him go, we would do Francis Ngannou against Tom Aspinall, and it would be absolutely huge, and Tom Aspinall would make 10 times more than he's making in his current contract.
The MMA guru breaks down exactly why this move is so explosive, revealing Eddie Hearn signed on as Tom Aspinall's commercial manager right in the middle of an existing beef with Dana White over Zuffa Boxing poaching Conor Benn. Crazy timing, sure, but fans are already asking the obvious question: why would Tom hand his career leverage to a man who has his own personal war with the UFC boss? This isn't smart business. This looks like Tom picking a side in someone else's fight. And it's Tom who's going to pay the price if negotiations turn ugly heading into his next fight against Cyril Gane.
This is a crazy move on so many levels. I love it. This is what the storylines are going to be, okay? When Tom Aspinall takes his next fight in the UFC, which, to be clear, is going to be in the UFC, I would hope, unless Dana really doesn't like this news and decides to just cut Tom Aspinall and strip him of the title, which would be disastrous for my boy Tom. But I don't see that happening. So Tom Aspinall's next fight is still going to be in the UFC. He's still under contract. Dana's not just going to let him go off to boxing. When I first saw this and I saw the pictures of them two together, I thought, oh my God, he's left and he's going to box in his next matchup. But no, Eddie Hearn's just going to be his commercial manager in the UFC scene. So we're going to have Eddie Hearn maybe negotiating with Dana White on behalf of Tom Aspinall when it comes to a few things here. This is going to get crazy. And it's of course crazy because Eddie Hearn and Dana White have a beef right now. Dana White entered Zuffa Boxing, and he's entered the boxing world with Zuffa Boxing, and he's directly trying to take out Eddie Hearn as a competitor in the boxing industry. So much so that he signed one of Eddie Hearn's top fighters, if I can find it here, Conor Benn, not that long ago. He signed Conor Benn and he gave him like $15 million to take a fight on Zuffa Boxing on a one-fight deal, and it's Eddie Hearn's big name right now. He just got a win over Chris Eubank Jr., and Eddie Hearn, of course, was really upset about this, and we were wondering, how's Eddie gonna bounce back? What's his next move gonna be? Well, he made a crazy play. He's only representing the UFC heavyweight champion now. And I can't wait to see where this goes. This doesn't change anything in terms of, is Tom going to... I think Tom's fighting again. He wants to get back in there ASAP. He says he's got unfinished business with Cyril Gane. That's the next thing to happen for Tom. But the build up to his next fight is going to be absolute cinema. This is the narrative that we needed, okay?
Tom Aspinall himself admits Dana White and Eddie Hearn are not exactly friends. Yet he's the one who chose to hand Eddie access to all his contracts anyway. He wanted a powerhouse behind him. Fair enough. But bringing in Dana's rival was always going to blow this situation up, and now Tom has nobody to blame but himself for the mess that followed.
I do. Well, see, they need to speak to Eddie, mate.
That's true. That's true.
Speak to Eddie and my dad about it.
That sounds almost surreal saying that. Are you kind of aware of how that's going to work? Because Dana and Eddie aren't the best of friends. I know there's kind of somewhat respect for what each other has done for each sport, but...
Oh, listen, mate. My dad's my manager. He's got a good relationship with Hunter and everything. But we felt like we needed a bit of a powerhouse behind us. We needed some more advice on it. Eddie and Matchroom are the guys that are going to give us that advice. So whether he'll be in the room making those plays, I don't know. But he'll definitely be. You know, they've got access to all my contracts and everything. They're going to see what's what. And
of course.
Dana White drops another bombshell here, confidently claiming Eddie Hearn didn't even negotiate the contract himself and challenging reporters to call him and check. This is Dana at his most dangerous, exposing gaps in Eddie's story in real time. And it's making Tom Aspinall's decision to trust him with his career look shakier by the day. If Eddie can't even get the basic facts straight publicly, how is he supposed to fight Dana White in a boardroom on Tom's behalf?
It's been pissing me off. Oh, fucking hell. Dana, you're gonna fucking poke fun at me, are you? I'll fucking sign with your fucking mortal enemy, mate. See how you fucking like that, you bald cunt. He's going off script here, guys, okay? He doesn't like the way the UFC's been treating him. He said that, okay, in a press conference that they did today. Him and Eddie Hearn. It's all going down, okay? They did a press conference and Tom Aspinall was talking about how he didn't like how he was being represented and didn't like how the UFC didn't have his best interest at heart. And that's true. The guy's been strung along for years. Absolutely sacrificed so they could do Jones versus Miocic in some gimmicky unk fight at the heavyweight for the heavyweight title on the line. And he just got all of his career basically wasted, or a lot of his prime of his career wasted, while he had to sit on the sidelines and let the UFC just run this absolute circus of a heavyweight division until he comes back and fights Cyril Gane, gets his eyes gouged out, can't fucking see anything, and then they're still taking shots at him. So Tom's not pleased, and this is a move that's been made. Now, has this move been made purely because he wants to spite Dana White? I don't think so. Is this really good for Tom? Yes, Eddie Hearn. I'm just going to make a couple UK references here. Tom's going to be on the Graham Norton show, okay? That's what happens here, all right? Tom's going to be on the Graham Norton show. He may even get a chance to speak with, I don't know who else. He might be on some kind of like mainstream television show. I don't know what else Tom could maybe feature in here with the Eddie Hearn connection, but he's going to be on Lad Bible doing Snack Wars. Tom Aspinall compares English and French snacks. Welcome back to Snack Wars with Lad Bible. Eddie's got connections that you don't quite understand.
What's truly at stake here goes beyond one contract dispute. This is about legacy, leverage, and who really controls the heavyweight division going forward. Dana White insists this entire mess is on Tom Aspinall, and honestly, the receipts back him up. Tom signed with Eddie Hearn, a man already at war with Dana, and now his own title reign is tangled in a promoter feud that has nothing to do with his skills inside the cage. If Dana White wins this battle of leverage, expect Tom Aspinall to either fall in line under existing UFC terms or find himself frozen out entirely, watching opportunities pass him by while Dana makes an example out of him. But if Eddie Hearn somehow forces the UFC's hand, Tom could walk away with a massive payday and newfound respect, proving loyalty to his own team over the promotion actually paid off in the end. Who breaks first when the pressure mounts? Dana's shown he never backs down publicly, while Tom now has to prove his business decision wasn't a costly mistake. Drop your take below, Did Tom Aspinall make a genius move or shoot himself in the foot? Smash that like button, subscribe, and sound off in the comments. Oncoming fist fire.